Welcome to Scriptural Snapshots, brought to you by Living Faith Ministries in Kaiser, West Virginia, where we bring the living Word of God into your life. I'm Pastor Gordon Brubaker. We're studying the 15 contributions of the God of the Torah that he gave into society that has literally changed and reshaped the world. These are off of Dennis Prager's The Rational Bible, out of his commentary on the book of Exodus. And there's 15 of these contributions that he lists. And we're going through each and every one of them. And these are just awesome concepts. And we don't think this way all this often. We don't think on a grand scale. And these are grand scale thoughts. These are really thinking outside the box, giving you concepts about God and who he is. And we know that God has changed the world. We know that in Israel's time, pharaohs were common, kings were common, absolute rulers. They claimed deity. They claimed to be God. We know that even Rome in Jesus' time, this concept was still going on, that emperors, Caesars claimed to be God, and they knew all this, and they had divine revelation, and their word was law, but none of them were God. None of them created anything. But they could believe that they were a God because their gods that they believed in were all created. They were all born into existence. None of their gods were creator gods. They had a god. Egypt had a god of the earth, a god of the sun, a god of the wind, a god of the moon, a god of this, a god of that. But none of them were creator gods. They didn't know who the creator was. And so Abraham comes along and God tells him, hey, I'm God, I'm Yahweh. I created heaven and earth and all things that are in it, and I created it for my glory. Moses came along and God spoke to him. And see, the God of the Torah has been revealing himself to us. Now we're getting awesome here because we're getting into some really powerful things. We found out in number 10 of Dennis Prager's 15 that God doesn't have a physical body. He's incorporeal. We found out in number 11 that the Torah teaches us that the physical is not the only reality. There's a spiritual heavenly reality. Number 12 that we're on, or number 11 that we were on yesterday, because God is there, because there is a spiritual reality, there is a soul and an afterlife and mortality. In other words, there's an end. There's a limit to this thing. But in number 12, he says, the God introduced by the Torah means that there is ultimate meaning to existence and to each of our lives. Without this creator, existence is random and purposeless. Now that's awesome. You have so many people today that are against hope. So many people, you are what you are, don't expect to be anything different because you will always be what you are. You will never be above your parents. You heard it several years ago when they started saying that the kids today never expect to reach the lifestyle of their parents, their wealth of their parents. They don't expect that anymore. And I'm thinking, I don't know who they're talking to, but they have no hope, whoever's doing this study. Now, let me give you an example of this. When I was in college, they told us that my generation was the nuclear generation. And I go, okay, it meant nothing to me. None of my friends were talking about, we're the nuclear generation. It was all the old folk that were talking, the experienced, the wise people. Wink, wink. But they said, you're the nuclear generation. And it wasn't until I was out of college and really older when I discovered what they meant by saying we were the nuclear generation. And they were telling us, we weren't thinking this ourselves, but they were telling us that because we're the nuclear generation, we believe we're all going to die in a nuclear war. That life has no meaning and no purpose because we're all going to die. At Woodstock, they sang, I think it was Fish, sang the song, whoopee, we're all going to die. And this was put into us. We didn't think this, but today they're putting it into the heads of kids. You'll never reach the social status or the material status of your parents. And I'm thinking, these kids have cell phones, they've got computers, they've got technology out the wazoo. They are so far above us. But it's being fed to them. It's being built into them. There's no hope for you. In other words, their existence is random. It is purposeless. There's no point to it. And they're trying to convince the kids of this. Why? This is the question. Why were they trying to convince my generation that we believed that we were all going to die when we didn't think that way? Why are they trying to teach this generation that they'll never come to the level of their parents in society? Why are they trying to tell us that? Why did President Obama say we've got to get used to rolling blackouts anymore? Why are they doing this? For one reason, so they can control you, so that you lose your ability to dream and to hope, so that you'll think that all life is purposeless, just like they do, so you can come under their spell and they can dominate you and control your life. We are not of that. We believe in a God that created heaven and earth and all things in it, and he created us in his image and made us like him, that we have the mind of Christ and we can do all things through faith in him. I'm Pastor Gordon Brubaker. God bless you.